Jai Janam, everyone. It's really nice to see you all again. So today I'm going to talk about vegetarianism in Jainism, and we'll start with a story about Vardhaman Mahaveer. So, who was Vardhaman? He was the son of Mata Trishala and King Siddharth, and I am going to talk about an episode from his childhood. One afternoon, Prince Vardhaman was playing a catch and ride game with his friends. The person who won would get to ride on the back of the loser. A new child joined the game. This child was easy to catch and he lost every time. Almost every child got to ride on his back. Prince Vardhaman also caught this new child. Vardhaman also rode on his back. While Vardhaman was on his back, the child started to grow bigger and taller. At first, Vardhaman's friends watched this with curiosity. Later, when the child's face began to turn weird, the children got scared and started to run away in panic. Some children climbed up the trees while others ran to tell their parents. During all of this, Vardhaman remained calm and brave. The monster kept growing very tall, so Vardhaman hit the monster in the head with his fist. The monster tried to throw Vardhaman off his back to avoid the pain, but he could not succeed. Ultimately, the monster gave up and asked for forgiveness. Vardhaman forgave the monster. The monster called him Mahaveera, which means strong one. Since then, Prince Vardhaman was called Mahaveera. So today we have gathered to talk about vegetarianism in Jainism. When we speak about Jainism, ahimsa is the most important principle. Ahimsa or non-violence sprouts from the belief that all living things live in peace and harmony, and hence we don't believe in the slaughter of animals for food. Vegetarianism is practiced by most cultures for reasons of compassion and reverence for life and non-violence, and the Jains are no exception to this. Here are a few other reasons you should not eat meat. 1. Our bodies are not designed to eat flesh. Lions, tigers, and other predators are naturally gifted with sharp claws and teeth and a fast speed to chase, hunt, kill, and eat their prey. If humans were meant to eat animals, they would have been gifted with similar features. However, our hands, mouth, and even our stomachs are not designed to eat or digest animal products. How do you think the cow feels when she's being taken to be slaughtered? Fear, frustration, anger, helplessness? Isn't it? And what happens when we eat that meat? The negative vibrations that the animal felt at the time of their death pass on to our bodies through the meat that we eat, and hence higher levels of stress among humans. 3. Processed meats including sausage, hot dogs, pepperoni, packaged lunch meat, beef jerky, ham, and bacon may increase the odds of developing colorectal cancer. The World Health Organization warns that daily consumption of even one hot dog or a few strips of bacon increases cancer risk by 18%. 4. Meat consumption is responsible for releasing greenhouse gases such as methane and carbon dioxide. The meat industry is now widely recognized as the number one contributor to global warming and also the leading cause of deforestation and air and water pollution. 5. Animal cruelty. In the vast majority of cases, animals raised for slaughter live in deplorable conditions, often riddled with diseases and very restricted movement in their cages. Chickens and turkeys are genetically modified So their breasts yield bigger cuts of meat, which causes them to barely be able to stand, even if they were able to roam free. Cows are actually incredibly gentle mothers who suffer tremendously when their calves are taken from them before weaning. This unnecessary suffering happens because people are not willing to reduce our meat consumption. For Jains, this idea just doesn't concern larger animals. We also do not eat root vegetables. So the question arises, why don't we eat underground vegetables? Jains do not eat vegetables like potatoes, onions, and garlic, as the sun's rays do not reach the roots and hence become breeding ground for thousands of microorganisms. For example, a potato looks like one article but is said to contain infinite lives in it. Farming the underground vegetables can harm these tiny forms of life. We also avoid eating the root vegetables as it requires the entire plant getting uprooted and killed, as the bulb is considered as a living being, whereas consumption of most terrestrial vegetables does not kill it. It lives on after plucking or is seasonally supposed to wither away. Jainism believes in protecting the tiniest form of life. So the next question arises, why vegetarian? Don't plants have life? The very fundamental question that is often asked of vegetarians is, if non-violence is the basis of vegetarianism, why eat plant-based foods? I have made a small chart to illustrate different animals and their number of senses and perception of pain. So at the top is Panchendriya Jeev, or animals with 5 senses. That's 5 different ways. That's 5 different ways to feel pain. Then is Charindriya Jeev, which is animals with 4 senses and 4 different ways to feel pain. Then there's Triyendriya Jeev, animals with only 3 senses and 3 ways of feeling pain. Below that is Dvendriya Jeev, which only has 2 senses and only 2 ways to perceive pain. And finally there is Ekrendriya Jeev, with only touch, and that's the only way it can feel pain. So, the Panchendriya Jeev is humans, cows, most mammals, and most of the animal kingdom. The Chaurendriya Jeev is animals like mosquitoes. The Triyendriya Jeev is animals like lice. Vendriya Jeev is animals like earthworms. And finally, Ekendriya Jeev is plant life. Having classified all life forms in this manner and realizing that human beings must eat to derive their nutrition and to survive, life with only one sense, that is basically plant life, is the only permitted food for human consumption. To reconcile the principle of non-violence with the consumption of plant-based diet and to preserve plant life as best as possible, there are strict dietary codes of practice recommended for day-to-day living. These include prohibition on the consumption of some vegetables and fruits, restriction on procurement of produce, restriction of times and timings, fasting, recommended occupations, and etc. Such codes with their possible interpretations are as follows. Prohibition of eating root vegetables as discussed at the beginning. Green vegetables and fruits too contain uncountable lives. Dry beans, lentils, cereals, nuts, and seeds contain a countable number of lives, and their consumption results in the least destruction of life. Mushrooms, fungi, and yeast are forbidden because they grow in unhygienic environments and may harbor other life forms. Honey is forbidden as its collection would amount to violence against the bees. Giants should not cook or eat at night due to the absence of natural light from the sun and to avoid using a lamp, the lighting of which kills the microorganisms in the air. Giants do not consume food that has been stored overnight as it possesses a higher concentration of microorganisms. Giants do not consume fermented foods like beer, wine, and alcohols to avoid killing a large number of microorganisms associated with the fermenting process. Also, wine deludes the mind, and the deluded mind commits himsa without hesitation. Before tap water became available, giants filtered their water. Some still do the same thing today by tying a piece of cloth over the tap. And though giants eat dairy products, some Jain scholars and activists support veganism as they believe the modern commercialized production of dairy products uses cruel practices that involve violence against farm animals. That is all for today. Thank you. Jai Janam.
Fantastic job.
Very good.
So we will proceed to the next hall for the family work.
Yes, please proceed. This is working, but please
For
proceed.
lunch, we can all move there.